Please do not gaslight me. That is also an act of white supremacy. Please do not.
Even now, as I seek help to end my life, there is still so much beauty.
He revealed that his daughter used to work as a software engineer at Twitter.
Well, look, Senator Warnock and his strategists feel like this is a vindication of his strategy.
A lot going on. As per usual, the Georgia race was called last night. If you didn't hear the results, not going to be a shocker for you. Fauci's daughter apparently was working at Twitter during the pandemic. The wokes in Eugene, Oregon have eaten themselves. And also, Canada's assisted suicide. We'll possibly look at the congressional border thing. Maybe we'll look at the overcounting of the border thing and the undercounting of the border thing. Holy cow, lots to get to. All coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually their name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, back in the dingy bunker, finally. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. On today is December 7th, the year of our Lord 2022. Lot happening, a lot going on. And maybe towards the end, I'll talk about the last week. I went from New Mexico to Southern California to West Palm Beach to Chicago to San Diego. Now we're back here, going back to San Diego. I'm hosting Dan Ball's show, Real America, on OAN throughout the rest of the week. So if you get OAN, if you watch OAN, you can see me there, guest hosting there live. It's where I'm headed after this. Yeah, enough about me. Let's get to the news of the day. I want to start off with this because we won't spend an exuberant amount of time on this. But Dr. Fauci, do you guys remember him? He is an elfin man who that was me. There's no reason for me to make fun of the man's physical stature, but I decided to do it anyway because apparently I'm a mean person. But Dr. Fauci, like I said, elfin individual who apparently ran the world for the last 3 years during the COVID pandemic. And yes, it is 3 years. We count 2020, 2021, 2022. The man has been atop the medical infrastructure in the United States and really around the globe for a very long time. He is thankfully retiring at the end of the year. And interestingly enough, there's a bunch of stuff happening now that he's decided to step out of the limelight and step away from his post atop the federal government's medical whatever. But this just came out yesterday. Let me, you know what? I want to play this Laura Ingraham clip because I feel like she does a pretty dang good job at describing things and making things make sense. So let's go right to this. Check this out. This is from Laura Ingraham, kind of just condensing it, and then we'll discuss on the other side. Watch this. If you haven't already, would really appreciate you clicking the little like button down here or the little emoji button, whatever. If the sight of Dr. Fauci's face makes you viscerally upset, click the little angry emoji button. And also the little share button, would really appreciate that. And also let us know in the comment section what you think about this. Is this shocking to you at all, or is this just par for the course? Check this out. Dr. Fauci, his daughter apparently works for Twitter. This is Laura Ingraham. Watch this.
Ben, during his deposition, he was asked if he knew anybody who works in social media. After demurring for a number of responses, he revealed that his daughter used to work as a software engineer at Twitter. Well, they take care of their own, and it's all kind of intertwined. Twitter's where all that disinformation was. They were banning people, shadow banning them.
All right, what this guy says, too, is also pretty interesting. So we can all be upset about this, but what this guy says right here is good point. It's a good point, and for the sake of being fair, listen.
I mean, as a conspiracy theory, this wouldn't even work on a TV show. But okay. Look, whether she had anything to do with that or not, I think that certainly we have to question the amount and the roles that Dr. Fauci had in every case when it comes to affecting the way that social media shifted and charged this debate in ways that we are only just now learning about for the first time as Elon Musk has started to unspool these things before our eyes.
So the caveat and the disclaimer there is we don't know what role she had. We don't know if she was a low-level graphic designer or tech something. I don't know. I don't know the terms of people who have jobs at social media companies. So, but that's a good point. We don't know what job she had. But at the same time, it just doesn't look good on its face. On Monday, Missouri General, this is from the Post Millennial, Eric Schmidt, released to Twitter the full transcript of the Dr. Fauci full deposition in an ongoing case regarding social media censorship, in which it was revealed Fauci's daughter worked for Twitter. Attorney D. John Saar asked Fauci if he knew anyone who worked at the social media companies at the time, to which Dr. Fauci stated, well, I've had communication with Mark Zuckerberg in the past, who was, I've done, I believe, 3 outward FaceTime discussions encouraging people to get vaccinated. During the question, that's what Dr. Fauci said. During the questioning, Fauci revealed that his daughter used to work for Twitter as a software engineer, but said in response to another question, they never discussed content posted in social media. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound at all Biden-esque to anyone? Yeah, because it is very Biden-esque. Remember how Hunter Biden and his dad never talked about anything regarding his presidency or his looming presidency or his former vice presidency and Hunter's business deal. They sat on a plane to China for 12 hours? Just not a peep of anything that came up. Just, we all believe that, right? Same thing with Dr. Fauci here. And again, the caveat being we don't know at what level Dr. Fauci's daughter was involved really at all with any of the decisions at Twitter, but it's just a bad look, which is interesting. This is also interesting how he answered this. Okay, so this was the question that was posed, and this is how Dr. Fauci answered it. The attorney asked Dr. Fauci, do you have any acquaintances with people you know who work on social media platforms? Zauer asked. He said, listen to the syntax of this. This is what I think is really interesting. This is just how Dr. Fauci talks and how he believes people talk in his own little world. Well, a person who used to work as a software engineer at Twitter was my daughter. Who talks like that? Just say, my daughter used to work there or does work there. Obviously, he doesn't want to say that, but just the syntax is really interesting. The attorney went on to say, did you ever, when she was working at Twitter, did you ever discuss the content of stuff posted on social media platforms? Which Fauci answered, no, she has no interest in that. I don't know about that. Interesting that Dr. Fauci thinks that is the case. The deposition was given on November 20th and comes as a part of a censorship lawsuit brought forth by Louisiana Attorney General earlier this year, alleging that key figures in the Biden administration, including President Joe Biden himself, coerced social media companies to suppress disfavored speakers, viewpoints, and content, yada, yada, yada. We all know that, and we all know now that it's true because Elon Musk and the Twitter files that we've discussed. Did we talk about that on Monday? I think we did. We didn't do a show yesterday because chaos. So there's that. So Dr. Fauci, daughter worked at Twitter and apparently never had any communication because, again, she's not at all interested. Other thing to keep in mind and to remember, because I always like to remind people of this one particular important fact, Dr. Fauci and his wife, their net worth went up $5 million during the pandemic. As did all of ours, right? My net worth increased substantially. Well, that's a different thing. I think my net worth probably actually did increase. But that was because property values went through the roof during that time. Anyways, the joke I was trying to make is that, not a lot of people got rich during the pandemic, but Dr. Fauci did get rich during the pandemic, or richer. And apparently we're all supposed to be like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. Where should we go from here? Let's go to this. This is important, making waves, and kind of interesting. Herschel Walker lost last night in the Georgia Senate race, and there's a lot we can talk about here. And I feel like this isn't anything that I haven't said in the past regarding Herschel and his ability to be a good candidate. His candidacy his viability as a candidate. Herschel Walker, as I mentioned during the primary, during the general election, which effectively is Georgia's primary, because Georgia has this dumb thing where like do they have a primary in the Senate race? I don't know what their primary system is. But if you don't get 50 plus 1 or over 50% in the general election, you go to a runoff with the top 2 candidates, and then it's whoever wins. You have to get 50 plus 1, which obviously you would get in a two-person runoff. At the time of the midterms, I said that Herschel Walker is not a good candidate. I was very outspoken about that. And a lot of people, especially on here, didn't really like that. And I still stand by it, and this is not like a rubbing it in your face, because honest to God, I did not want Herschel Walker to lose, but I wasn't feeling confident about it, and was very open and honest about that the entire time. Reason being, because in my opinion, Herschel Walker is a bad candidate. Now, a lot of people might be upset about that sort of opinion, and I understand why you would be, especially if you want to promote more freedom-oriented, conservative, if you will, policies. Herschel Walker would have been a good person to do that, or at least vote across the party lines. But remember a couple things. Republicans did not pick up any seat. I think they lost. They lost a seat in the Senate. So there is that. It was 50-50 with Kamala Harris being the tiebreaker. It is now 51-49, which Kamala Harris does not need to be a tiebreaker, which is... We can talk about the intricacies of how the Senate is going to work next term, which is going to be fascinating. Thank goodness Republicans were able to take back the House so that hopefully nothing crazy gets through. But the bottom line here is that I think, and I stand by this, and I've said this a bunch of times, Herschel Walker is just a bad candidate. The reason why, and I won't get into the entirety of it constantly, is because Brian Kemp is a Republican who won the gubernatorial race by like 8 points. So what that says to me is that Republicans don't necessarily have a problem winning in Georgia. It's just bad Republicans that have a problem winning in Georgia. In most cases, split ticket voting is not really a big thing. Like maybe you can account for 5%. Split ticket voting is like you vote for Republican, then you vote for a Democrat, then you vote for a Republican, then you vote for a Democrat, depending on like the governor's race, the Senate's race, your congressional race, and then your local city board, whatever it is. Split ticket voting is not a big thing. Unless a candidate is so bad, as Herschel Walker, I believe, was, that the average voter either just didn't show up for him or just didn't vote in that particular election or race, or decided, yeah, I just can't bring myself to do it. I would imagine a lot of Republicans just left that ballot blank. Brian Kemp, again, won by 8 points. Herschel Walker lost by 1 point in the midterm. So even with Brian Kemp carrying Herschel through, just a bad candidate, and I think that's what the case is. Now, the reason why I think this is important, and the reason why I want to talk about this, is freedom-loving, conservative-minded, anti-federal government overreach candidates need to win in order for any effective change to be made. And in order to win, you have to put up better candidates. And I would like to encourage the people that, like myself, want more freedom to be more critical of their own side. Look, I heard a radio guy make a fantastic argument about this yesterday morning. He basically said, in sports, the fans of a particular team, if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, you're hypercritical of Aaron Rodgers and his performance. And is it time for him to retire? Is it time to move on? Is it time to do this, that, or the other thing? You don't shy away from criticizing your own team. If anything, you're more outspokenly critical of your own team. The Packers suck this year. You probably hear, if the Packers do in fact suck this year, you're going to hear that more from Packers fans than you do from any other fan in the league. Why is that? Because they want to win. They ultimately want to replace their quarterback, their O-line, their running back, their defense, whatever it is that they need to do to win. They want to make that effective change in order to win. That is the same thing that I'm doing here with Herschel Walker. We need to elect better people in the primaries that can actually win in the general, because if you don't win in the general election, you don't get to do any of the things that you want to do. You can say all of the floofy things, you can have all the best policy ideas, you can say everything that everybody wants on your side, but if you don't win, none of it matters. And the reason why I say all of that is because I wanted to get to this MSNBC clip, because I think it's interesting that Democrats like Warnock think that their policy and their strategy is what propelled them to victory. I disagree. And I think if we fix the candidate component of our own side, and they still believe that the policies and the strategy that they used is what got them to win, I will go head to head with bigger government liberals every single day on an ideas basis. If you have two candidates that are exactly the same, that are both impressive, great example, Tim Ryan and J.D. Vance in Ohio. Both, obviously people didn't like Tim Ryan, or you probably don't like Tim Ryan as a Democrat, but they were both competent candidates. And Ohio, being kind of this wish-washy state, was really electing two candidates based on their policy, because on an intellectual level, on a level of being able to talk to the public, they were both pretty even. And so on a policy level, I am more than willing to go to bat with lefties against their ideas. I think our ideas are better. We have to fix the candidacy thing. So all that being said, watch this clip from MSNBC where they go on saying, well, Warnock thinks his strategy worked. It wasn't the strategy. It was the fact that Herschel was a bad candidate. Watch this clip, and we'll discuss more on the other side. Sorry, I'm getting a little heated about this because I feel like this is a big thing that conservatives need to do in order to make sure we actually are able to win and affect change at the higher level. If you haven't already, would really, really appreciate you clicking the little like button and the little share button down here. Or I would click, if I were you, I would click the angry button right now. The little the red face, all of that stuff. And let us know in the comment section what you think. I don't know, maybe you disagree. And I'll be completely honest with you, if you haven't figured this out already, we are recording this early. It's about 3 hours before the show generally airs. So I can't get the comments here because, whatever. But I will pour through them later on, kind of get an anecdotal assessment of where we are just collectively as a group talking about this sort of stuff. Anyways, check this out. Herschel, this is the MSNBC clip talking about the strategy of the Democrats.
Well, look, Senator Warnock and his strategists feel like this is a vindication of his strategy, which was not only to energize the liberal base, but also to claim the political center. He talked about bipartisanship. He talked about working across party lines. He didn't go for, sort of red meat that might have energized more Democratic voters because he felt like he already had locked up the base. At the same time, Herschel Walker ran a Trump-centric strategy. He talked about culture wars. He talked about gender pronouns. He talked about transgender sports, issues that weren't on the top of mind of so many voters. And he allowed Senator Warnock to not just get the Democratic core, but also those middle-of-the-road voters.
So I think he's wrong. I genuinely think that if he actually is he's not speaking on behalf of Warnock, but he's speaking as somebody who's talked to the campaign and Warnock himself, saying, well, the reason they think they won is because Herschel Walker ran a campaign based on trans athletes and bathrooms. I wholeheartedly disagree with the fact that voters don't resonate with those issues. I think the issues are great. I think the economy stuff, Herschel Walker also talked about the economy quite a bit, talked about inflation, talked about how difficult it is to find employees and then also pay for things that you need. I think the policy stuff is all there. What's missing is the candidate. They had a lot of cannon fodder with Herschel Walker, and I would hope that going forward in the future, Republicans / freedom lovers / conservatives get their act together and nominate some people that are going to actually win. And then there's also the caveat here that I'm sure that a lot of you in the comment section are going to point out, basically saying use Trump's selected pick. I can feel some of you commenting that already, saying that, well, apparently it turns out that Trump's selected pick will get you through the primary. We'll see what happens in the general. So, all right, we'll leave that there. Stuff will keep coming out about that, and I'm sure political talking heads will have opinions, and we'll bring that to you as they come. So there's that. This is great. The wokes are out woking themselves. Now this is kind of a long video, and this is fascinating. But this is the Eugene. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. The Eugene School Board in Eugene, Oregon, not a bastion of conservatism by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of these people are probably crazy lefties. But this transpired in a virtual meeting in which the guy in this upper right-hand corner here, let me make this bigger here. I'm pretty sure it's him, because we didn't get him talking because the video clip didn't allow us to do that. But this guy's name is it Gordon? Jared Gordon? One of them. He brought up a very, very, very reasonable question. He said, hey, did we vote on this? I don't really know. If we didn't vote on this, I'm not sure why we're talking about it. So on and so forth. The lady in the middle here, if you'll see, her name is Laurel. And she had a panic attack. The person in the bottom left-hand side, I forget what her name is, but she's the one controlling the meeting. And that should set you up very, very nicely for what you're about to hear, which could possibly be the most ridiculous conversation ever to take place in the world throughout the history of time. Watch this and enjoy. And we'll stop several times. It's kind of long, so we'll stop several times to interject. Check it out.
It's happening. If you can tell me what Gordon is violating, I will let you know whether I take it into account or not.
My point of order is to say, it is up to you to control this meeting. And when he is bullying me and coming after me and retaliating against me, it is inappropriate.
I wish I could have gotten the front end of this on here. It was just too complicated to pull down. Basically, I watched it, and Gordon basically said, hey, I was just curious, do we have this? And she said, no, we need to move on, we need to move on, we need to move on. And Gordon was like, well, but I'm just curious. And then she called him a white supremacist, and that's what gets us to this spot.
Well, your
so
point
please hold yourself accountable and do your leadership job. It is important.
Gordon
the
has
point
not
of order,
violated,
and so
Gordon has not violated any of our rules. Your point is not well taken. Thank you. What is the next item?
I appeal the point of order to the board.
Then we can vote on that. All those in favor of Laurel's
Maya
point of order.
controlling the meeting instead of Gordon controlling the meeting. That's my point of order. That's what I said.
That is
several times.
Order. Point of order has shifted, Laurel.
No, it has not. And please do not
Laurel,
gaslight me. That is also an act of white supremacy. Please do not.
Stop.
We'll keep going because it keeps going, and they finally just end the meeting. But dude, how do you get anything done? How do you people get anything done ever at any point? Maybe I'll track that down. So to give you a peek behind the curtain, it's like a 3-hour board meeting, and the only way to get the Gordon speaking part was like to download the entire thing, and it was like 3 or 4 gigs, and then go through it. Bottom line is too much work, and you know what? It comes down to me being lazy. I am lazy, effectively, and therefore didn't get you the entire clip. But the calmness and soft-spokenness of this guy named Gordon, who Laurel is just so hell-bent on saying that he's controlling the meeting, he's taking it over. Gordon's like, hey, I have a question. Hey, is this how this works? And Laurel said, this is white supremacy! This is white supremacy. Please do not. We'll continue on just because of how hilarious I think this is. Oh boy. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. If you haven't already, by the way, click the little like button down here, right, up, down, a little here, over here, and the little share button that I believe is over here on this side. Or let us know in the comment section what you think about the wokes eating themselves, and we'll roll on.
I have said exactly.
When you appeal my decision, it is not debatable. It is not debatable. It can be taken to a vote, but it's not debatable. Period. So all those in favor of supporting—
Your behavior is white supremacy. Everybody can see it.
Laurel, you need to stop. Your hostility and indecorum.
Oh my word. Do you think it's appropriate? You are my peer. You do not tell me what I need to do.
Well, you just called them all white supremacists. Your behavior is white supremacy. And she goes, Laurel, what the hell are you talking about? Laurel says, you do not get to talk to me like that. The guy in the— hold on, let's play this back really quick. If you're just listening to this on the podcast, sorry, this is not going to be beneficial for you. But this dude in the lower right-hand corner, watch his face when Laurel says, this is white supremacy, all of you are white supremacists. Check this out.
Behavior is white supremacy. Everybody can see it.
Laurel, you need to stop. Your hostility and indecorum.
Oh my word. Do you think it's appropriate? You are my peer. You do not tell me what I need to do.
I didn't tell you anything.
You just told me what I need to do.
I am going to adjourn.
Really?
The meeting is
I ask that somebody
11 p.m.
control this meeting.
It's done. The meeting is
you
done,
don't have the ability at this point. Your rate of hostility is at a high.
Laurel, the meeting is done. The meeting has been adjourned at 10:11 p.m. You are out of order.
I like this. Everybody just kind of clicks off. She's just looking. Their dumb face. I guess it's over now. Oh man, what a nut. I think that stuff is so funny. I think it's again, bad ideas eating bad ideas. It's just great. It's great. We've come full circle now, where the wokes are calling themselves white supremacists and they're defending white. It doesn't, dude. Hilarious. It's just hilarious. Best of luck, Laurel. I believe her. Yeah, I don't know. She's a school board member in Eugene, Oregon. Best of luck to your finding. That was mean. There's no reason for me to say this, but I was going to say best of luck, Laurel, for seeking help with your severe mental illness. Anyways, that's going to do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. It's been a wild ride the last couple of weeks, getting on here and doing the stuff. I think we did a show Monday from Bloomington, Illinois. The radio station there, the Great Plains Media office, let us use their radio station, which is awesome. Thank you for that. Again, didn't do a show yesterday. Did one today, but this is pre-recorded like 2 hours early, I think, when this will actually air, because I got to head down to San Diego. I am covering, if you missed this, I'm covering for Dan Ball's Real America on OAN, which is like so cool. And I really appreciate Dan for giving me the opportunity and also trusting me with the reins to his show. Big, bold trust move there. So appreciate Dan and everybody at OAN, the producers over there, Vince, Peyton, Thomas. Really appreciate you guys all. But yeah, I'll be on OAN tonight, guest hosting Dan Ball's Real America. If you don't get it, go find it, check it out. Also, some other big-ish news that I'll tell you today, because who knows if we're going to be able to get back here tomorrow. I'm going on Fox News tomorrow night. The late night show with Trace Gallagher, or at least that's the plan as of this moment, but things change because the news is an ever-evolving cycle. But that was my first in-studio Fox News thing. I've been on OAN quite a bit, Newsmax quite a bit, and then this is exciting, and I don't know how to take any of it. It's just crazy to me that any of this stuff is I don't know, happening to somebody as dunderheaded as myself. So anyways, I appreciate all of you watching this, sticking around, tuning in. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media accounts. That's also the best way to keep up with what's going on, when we're actually going to be able to do this show and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, just JOBOB pretty much anywhere. The Facebook Chiron is wrong. Maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution, to change the Facebook Chiron. Just type in Jobob, though. You'll be able to find me. Other than that, appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. We'll see you. Excuse me. We are going to see you tomorrow, but I think I'm going to be remote in San Diego, so we'll be in a hotel. See you tomorrow. Same time, different place. See you then. God bless America.